Good morning, everybody. Sorry, a little last minute technical difficulty. I was like, wait, I don't see all my comments. So, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Sorry, I am actually, I'm going to try to go fast today. Okay, I say that every week. I do have a couple showings this after our coffee time at 10:30 and at 11. So I will need to make sure that I scoot. That's what I was actually doing. So just kind of some real life realtor work. So we were printing out the MLS information for those homes, and I typically like to highlight. So if you saw me highlighting, I typically highlight some of so there's a lot of information that's provided on those MLS customer kind of a synopsis. So I always highlight the main things that everyone asks. You know, what's the square footage, bedroom, bath, what year was it built, what are the taxes, what's the HOA fee? So I usually do a quick little highlight of those just for quick reference for my clients so that if they have a question, we can answer it. So good morning, everybody. So real quick, because I was late looking at comments and seeing everyone. Hello, Rob and Kennard and Gary and Furman and Richard and Susie Q and Robert and UWU and Sydney. Back to Rob, Ron, Cheryl, and then Eric. Hey, Eric.
What?
Hey.
Oh, hi.
I'm just saying hi. And then our friend from Wales, I love it. Good morning, Allie, who is going to help us out as always. And then, of course, Robert. All right, so hello, and hi, Kim. All right, so good morning. I know I've said that 3 times. Here's the thing. A couple weeks ago, I, for whatever reason, got a little excited about fall, and I don't know why, but I will say that you'll see that we talk about what's brewing. I want to show you my mug of the day. Now I have to turn it around because this is one of the negatives of being a left-handed person. It says fall y'all. Now that's cute, except that when I have to like turn it around to everybody so that everybody can see it. But I'm a lefty, so it kind of looks weird. But anyway, that's the way it goes. So coffee today, I'm just going to tell you, I did it pretty good. There's always the mixture, the right ratio of the creamer. And for me, I have to do regular creamer versus the sugar-free because of the sugar-free kind of medication that requires me to really watch my sugar. That one is good, my friends. I did good. And it's hazelnut. So it's full hazelnut with, a little splash of full hazelnut and a little sugar-free hazelnut. That's how I have to mix the coffee. And I will say it's pretty good on a day that we're going to pretend like it's totally fall. So again, everybody, good morning. Let us get started with talking about a few of our what's brewing things. We've got some topics for you. We have lots of time for questions as well. So again, if you have a question, don't forget, if you can, I know some people don't know to do it, but if you put the little Q in front of like a capital Q with a colon, that just helps me if I go to search the questions, because I do like to try to get to them. So so if you've got some questions, think about it, start posting them. How is everybody this morning? Are you good where you are? What is the weather where you are? Are you enjoying actual fall? Like in Florida, as we'll talk about it in a minute, it's not really fall. We end up, this is probably one of the things I miss the most about Virginia is the beautiful, we talked about before, the beautiful seasons, but fall is always one of the best ones. You smell the leaves burning down the street, and I don't know, it's just perfect weather there. So, all right, guys, so let me see, from Castle Rock, Colorado. Yes, Ron, Cheryl, you are in Colorado. How are you? You need to text me and just kind of, give me your updates, as do like all of you. I love getting those updates. Hi, Jacqueline. Yes, there we go. So we've got some questions popping in. So, what is Rob? Let's see. What is this? That type of cup, wider at the bottom than at the top. What is that called? I don't know. Pear-shaped cup? I don't know. I don't know, Rob. That's a good question. Does it have a name? I would think that as a wine glass, that probably has a name, but I am not the wine connoisseur, so I don't really know a lot about that. All right, guys, so we are going to go right on into what's brewing today. So I'm going to take another sip because it's really good and it's fall, y'all. Good morning again. Okay, so Kim just said in Connecticut it's starting to get like a touch of fall. So that's exciting. So send me your pictures. Like seriously, please. you know, Skyline Drive, this beautiful, beautiful place, traveling through Virginia. Again, these Sunday drives that we do, that Eric and I do as part of our Heart and Home Orlando, just part of what we do to kind of help showcase and share with you where we live and some of the aspects of what it looks like where we live. Well, those Sunday drives started authentically with my dad. As a kid, we would, sometimes on Sundays, we would just go take a drive. And sometimes that was down Skyline Drive in Virginia. We would just see the beautiful changing of the leaves. And those are the things that I really, really, really miss here. So if you live somewhere where the landscape is absolutely gorgeous and stunning with those deep fall colors, then first of all, you are so lucky. I would love to come visit you. But secondly, literally text me pictures, 407-848-8042. I just love to see them. Maybe next week we'll even share some of those photos. All right, so here comes fall. So that's what we're gonna talk about. So fall, first of all, we understand that it is August. Hold on, what is it? It is August 15th. So it's probably a little bit early for fall in most places, but we started school last week. School always feels like it's the time for things to start to become a little bit more crisp and cooler, and that's when kids go back to school. But in Florida, we start a little bit earlier, so maybe not so much. But here's the main reason that we say here in Florida, specifically in the Orlando area, that we say here comes fall. It's because Disney says it's fall. So if you have been to Disney recently, take a look at the beautiful fall decorations. One of the absolutely amazing things that they do is they can transform the parks seemingly overnight. It is magical, and everything changes and shifts, and you really feel kind of encompassed by that season or that holiday that they are trying to represent. And so because Disney says it's time to start to celebrate fall and pumpkins and some of the wonderful aspects that the fall and the Thanksgiving season brings us, we're going to go ahead and agree. That's why I grabbed my It's Fall Y'all mug, and I have my candle again, same one I had the other day, called Copper Leaves. That one smells heavenly, so I feel very fall-ish. But yeah, a lot of things that we do is determined by Disney. Just because, it's where we live, and that's kind of a cool thing, actually. I really like that. All right. So, and we went one year, it was the Mickey's Halloween party with the kids one year. This is before we lived in Florida. It was back when we lived in Virginia, and our kids were obviously much, much younger, but, just the way that those parks are transformed is amazing. It is a very, very, very well-oiled machine. I wish I could transform my house as rapidly and as efficiently and as beautifully as they do, but alas, I am not Disney. So, all right, so let's go back to the what's brewing here. So the second one is Happy Birthday Steele. So Steele is our new son-in-law. That is my beautiful daughter. They just got married on July 1st. He is in the Army, and he is, we're not allowed to say too much, but we do want to say a big happy birthday to him tomorrow, I believe. So he has a big birthday coming up, a very monumental one, and we are very excited to have him as a part of our family. Now, just so you know, they were like high school sweethearts. So I don't know about you and how many of you can think back to high school, so long ago, to who you dated in high school, or if you dated in high school, and then from college or wherever you met your significant other. But we've actually had friends before who were high school sweethearts, and they are married to this day. And they met in high school very early on in their high school years. And he's been with us so long, he already is a part of the family, and now he legitimately is a part of their family. So happy birthday, Steele, tomorrow. Obviously, I don't think it is today, it's tomorrow, but we love you. Please stay safe and stay well. Take care of yourself. Take care of my girl. All right, and then finally, our third What's Brewing is Maggie's debut. If you don't know who Maggie is our adorable West Highland Terrier. So Maggie, we had to go get her groomed the other day. So the time before that we had her groomed, she actually was okay. Everything revolves around this pool. So this pool in the backyard, Eric had talked before about in our second video about the weeds when they grow so tall, then there's these little burrs that get on them. So these little burrs were getting caught in her fur. So she was an absolute mess. So when we took her we actually had a mobile groomer come to us on that one. First time I ever used a mobile groomer. I would use them again, but we just went back to our regular person. It was just easier. But they ended up having to shave her, and she looked like this little alien rat when they did. But she was still adorable. So her fur is not like, she's not full Westie skirt cut, but her face got very, very full again. And so she gets very mad when she can't see and their little fur gets in front of their eyeballs. So we had her groomed the other day, and that's where those pictures are from. That's actually me picking her up from the groomer. We were actually just heading out at that point. We picked her up from the groomer, and then we went to the bottom right picture, the market crash. And Eric does that because he knows that I hate those types of photos, but it's okay. So anyway, but you see Maggie in the back of the car. Isn't she adorable? So the groomer actually put those little red bows in her hair. She did so well. She's a good one. Now the other dogs cannot go to the groomer. They cannot go to the vet. They cannot go anywhere. So thankfully they don't need to be groomed that way, other than being bathed, which we can do because we have the little dog bath in the house. So anyway, so that's kind of our what's brewing. I know that wasn't real estate related, but sometimes we like to have this be a mixture of all of it. So that being said, let's take some questions because I know you're probably tired of me and my life. Okay, so let me go up here.
For your producer notes for your
producer
questions.
notes. Okay, thank you, producer notes. All right, hold on. I'm trying to see if I can search that. Okay. Follow-up question on yesterday's video. I realized that 2008 factors aren't in play for this real estate market. However, what about the glut of foreclosures that they have been predicting? All right, so producer notes. All right, I love it. Eric, he really does. He gets ahead of me, so that's great. So it says foreclosures are not really expected because of the equity that the people have in their homes. So remember, we talked about the unprecedented amount of equity that this area has brought to so many of the homeowners here. We talked about, well, not even just here. My son in Texas, in 2 years, he netted over $200,000 profit off the sale of his home. And then our daughter and son-in-law here in Florida, 3 years, $300,000. That is not normal. So, but that still happened. And so because of that, so many people have a lot more equity in their home. So in point is, he also said now they can sell and get their money out. Corporations are buying homes to rent them out. That's contributing to the housing shortage, which is another reason we think there will not be a crash. Yeah, you know what? That is, candidly, can be very frustrating. We try very hard in this area because we are so tourist and destination oriented with those who come to visit us and those who want to come either work for or play here for any period of time, that we try very hard to keep it residential because there are those of us who live here. We have our kids here, our families are here, we're raising families here. And so while we like to enjoy the benefit of being able to enjoy Disney or Universal or any of the other million things that Orlando has to offer, we still want to make sure that we kind of protect our area and our neighborhoods so that they are not totally rented, even if we are not short-term rental. If we are purely residential, meaning you need to do a year lease, people are still allowed to rent here, and renting here is totally fine. That's not a problem. But we are, it is important to try to make sure that those who are living in the homes, that there is some home ownership involved and that the community doesn't become, even if it's long-term rentals or renters, that the community itself is still a residential community and not only owned by investors. But it does happen quite a bit, and that is definitely happening now. So that was a good question. Rob, great question. The shipping problems for the building supplies, is it easing up? So you know what? Honestly, yes and no. There are still issues. The windows that used to be a 20-week lead time now I think are like 37 weeks. But there are some builders that have a bigger stronghold, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but like a bigger stronghold, I guess, on the market and on the area. And so they tend to get their supplies a little bit more consistently, I guess I'll say. I won't say that they get them on time, but I will tell you that my daughter and son-in-law's home, it is rocking and rolling. And they really haven't hit any bumps, knock on wood. They have not They have not hit anything major. Now, when they purchased their home, it was already well under construction, because remember, that's part of what the builders are doing to offset the extended time period that it's taking for you to build your home. So they are, they're kind of manipulating it and not even releasing it until it's a little bit further into the build process. So, so any of those delays and those things we actually didn't really get to see or experience because the home wasn't available for sale at that time. So once they were able to contract, I will tell you it's going quickly. They've got, by the way, we've got the guys here for our footers. So if you watched our, was it Thursday? The Thursday, part 2 of our pool build video, the home for the holidays video series. We talked about that the footers are next, and we will update you, but they are here.
I'm trying to show him.
Oh, he's trying to show you.
We're the first ever.
Okay,
Eric is from the backyard.
I know Eric is standing behind the computer right now, like unhooking
shaking. We're gonna try.
Okay, so he's trying to unhook something, and maybe he'll take a camera out there, but. They were here on Friday. Friday?
Sure.
I think it was Friday. Yes, it was. It was Friday. I didn't know they were here. The dogs were just barking like crazy. And I had seen when my son went off to school, I had seen a truck kind of go slowly by with some things sticking out of it. Well, that doesn't surprise anyone. But then the dogs wouldn't stop barking. So I kind of was looking around, and I saw that truck was pulled out in front of our house. So I walked outside and pajamas and all, just to see if they needed something. And they said, "You didn't know we were coming, did you?" And I was like, "No, but what are you here for?" And they're like, "Oh, we're here to do the footers." So they actually, what had happened, this was a happy little accident, was that they were actually scheduled to do footers at another home. They were doing that pool during the build process of that home construction, and they were there to stucco the exterior of the house. And so they could not be doing the footers at the same time they were there stuccoing the house. So they just came to us, and they put us, they got us taken care of on Friday, and then they're back today. So we have some excitement, I guess, if Eric gets this done.
I don't know. We'll see.
He's trying. Anyway, if not, we'll send you pictures later. Anyway, but yes, Rob. So I won't say that they're all easing up, but I do think that there are things that are going a little bit more smoothly. But the delays are still happening. And again, I cannot reiterate this enough. And this is absolutely imperative. Whether you are my client, whether you are someone else's client, whether you are considering building new construction, or whether you're in the throes of it, please understand. First of all, I'm not representing the builder. So I'm not pleading their case, because my job is to represent my client. But you have to understand that when the builder submits the order for windows or for whatever it is that they have ordered, when they submit that purchase order, it is out of their hands at that point. So it's not like they're manufacturing the aluminum. So they really are beholden to those outside companies and corporations that are doing that manufacturing. So there really is no amount of yelling and screaming and fussing at them that is going to expedite something that they don't have control over. So I will just basically, one statement: please go into the new construction process with a complete understanding that it's not yours until you close on it. And until then, I promise you, they are building it as quickly as they can, because nobody gets paid. The builder doesn't get paid. The crews don't get paid. The suppliers, none of that happens until, I won't say the suppliers don't get paid, but until you close. So it's really important just to kind of understand that. Okay, Eric, when you get a chance, I want to make sure I haven't missed any other questions, or if I have to redo it.
I think you're good. Well, just click that off.
Click that off, because there's other people. Yay! Okay, good. All right, so, but while I'm going to look for questions, let's go on to, let me see if I can figure it out. By the way, I have tons of little sticky notes all over my thing. So we did Disney, Steel, and Maggie. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to the Zillow Home of the Day. Okay, so our Zillow gone wild. So we just started this last week, and I think when Eric stumbled on this, he knows that this stuff, this one is not like the one last week. Some of those just absolutely fascinate me. This one is interesting. By the way, this one is now pending, I believe. Oh yeah, it does. It says pending right there. San Antonio, Texas, 875,000, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,745 square feet. Oh, they did a pretty hefty price reduction. But this is in San Antonio. And you might think to yourself, 875,000 for that much square footage. But let's look at this picture over here on the right. What the heck is that? And so that, my friends, is like a cavern underneath of the house. So, wow, like what do you even do with that? Like, is that, I don't even know. That's kind of amazing. It reminds me of Luray Caverns in Virginia. Actually, never been to it, but I have obviously seen lots of pictures of it. That is amazing, though. Now, I have a question. Like, are they worried about sinkholes? Like, is that going to be a thing there if you've got this giant cavern, underneath of your home? That's pretty wild. And I just saw Allie go, what? Yes, Allie, I can imagine that you would probably like to go find a little spot and sit there and write, wouldn't you? Okay. Oh, Iris says we don't get tired of listening to you talk about your loved ones. That's very sweet. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yes, best storm shelter ever. Yes, you're absolutely right. That's crazy. Yeah. Santa's grotto. Yep. I mean, this is crazy, right? I think this is amazing. Eric is really good at finding those houses. This is a good one. And you know what? It's pending. So, we don't want to, what are the new people going to do with it? Like, are they going to open it up for a tourist attraction? I don't know. It's pretty exciting though. All right. So that was the Zillow gone wild. That's pretty amazing. The last one that we had was like this Victorian, right? And it had the gorgeous staircase. Some of those and had like 11 bedrooms or something. That would have been a great, like when you can go to the Outer Banks and you get those massive vacation rentals that have lots and lots and lots of bedrooms, and you get you and your friends or your whole family and their friends and family, and you all kind of go together in one of those places. An 11-bedroom house would probably work for that. I don't know about the cavern though. I don't know that anybody would want to sleep in the cavern. Anyway, good morning, Kennard. I don't know if I mentioned it to you. Kennard says he needs it. Okay. Well, you can't move to San Antonio. We won't let you, though. So, all right. Very good. All right. I'm going to look for some more questions here. Yes, Allie says, imagine a cave library. Yeah, that would be cool. You could be really creative with the bookshelves. That would be good. I think Eric is having some technical difficulty.
I just can't get the camera to show the back.
He can't get it.
They're around the corner anyway, so.
Oh, they're around the corner. Okay, well, we'll send you pictures later.
Well, someone did ask when the next in the pool series is. But
yeah. So, Yep. Yeah, so just real quick about that pool series. So if you have watched us for a while, you know that every year now, we've done like a Home for the Holidays series. Last year, we did the building of this home. This year, our Home for the Holidays is it's our pool edition. And we've taken you through all the steps of our build process for our pool, which is ongoing right now. I hear them like hammering or doing whatever they're doing outside right now. By the way, we had a little casualty out there because apparently our rock guy, the rock went back a little bit too far. So when they were putting the footers in, they had to chop up some of it. So that was a little sad. But yeah, so that we aired the first two videos this past Thursday, and then the Thursday before we will do a compilation of it, a little bit closer too. So
they're building Sunset Rock right now. So.
They are building Sunset Rock right now. We're very excited about that. Okay, so here, we'll show you that. So right now they are building. Okay, hold on. That I would never be a weatherman. That's what they're building right now, and it's really cool because they took the pliable, bendable wood that can curve, and so now they've got that all the way around it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting! But yeah, so this is just part of the one of the documents that they gave us. This shows you kind of the whole pool aspect of it. All right, let me get back to some questions. I'm sorry, I digress. I'm a little all over the place. Susie Q, will a production builder allow any minor changes such as a door to the laundry room from owner's master closet if they abut, or do they stick to the plans? That is, Susie Q, first of all, I love you. That is such a good question. So, unfortunately, a production builder, and I don't work for the builders, but I can tell you in my experience with all of them, the answer is 99.99999% no, that they won't. And that's because it is a production builder. Now, for a while, Dreamfinders was one of the builders. In fact, if you watch some of my older Dreamfinders videos, we actually talked about how they were the builder who would try to say yes. So if there was a small change, just exactly like what you said, if you're just trying to add a door, you're not trying to move walls, you're just trying to kind of, adapt it ever so slightly, that they used to say absolutely yes, shouldn't be a problem. They'd have to look into it, right, and make sure. But they were very accommodating, and they would not shut you down right away. Now, even to my understanding, Dreamfinders at this stage where we are in this market are not allowing any of those small custom changes. If it is something that is in there, if you look at a floor plan, do I have floor plans around here? I don't know. If it's a floor plan here's one. Hold on.
If you get it.
No, I got it. Let me see if this one. Oh, hold on, second page. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Okay, so like this is, just for example, this is a Meritage floor plan. This is the Alcott, I believe. Yes, it is, the Alcott too. So this is the floor plan, right? So this is kind of what you get, right? All right, so you get the floor plan, and then you get this, which are some of the other structural options that are available. A great room, where it looks down, super great room. You can add a couple bedrooms upstairs. You can add the game room. So those are some structural options. That was just an example of like adding the bonus room. But when you look at a floor plan, they're going to give you a couple of different variations. And sometimes it will include, a door to the laundry room from the master. If they include it, and if you are building from dirt, where you get to actually pick and choose all of those structural options, then you can choose that. If they don't offer it, I mean, you can always ask. I always say that if we expect them to say no and we get maybe a maybe, then that's great. But there's no harm in asking. But I can tell you, don't expect them to say yes. But the only way you can fix that. So I just had some clients, they're repeat clients of mine. I'm so excited for them. They just yesterday contracted, they were able to snag a $40,000 incentive offered by the builder, building a beautiful home. Oh my gosh, a beautiful home. And they were able from dirt to be able to pick and choose everything. So they picked the exterior elevation. And the home site had been released, and that's why. So I got the phone call from the builder saying, hey, we have this home site that's been released, and it will hold that floor plan that your clients want. And so we jumped on it really fast. And by the way, congrats to them, because they had to go like lightning speed over the weekend as well. So they met, and they were able to pick and choose everything from the floor outlet in the family room to the stair railing, or whether it's going to be a half wall, or the living room option versus the dining room with the butler's pantry. So they were able to pick and choose all of those things. Now, by the way, when your home is permitted, you can't go back and change your mind. So if you're at the design center and you realize, wow, we underestimated how much it was going to cost us to have that flooring that we really wanted, let's go back and take off that floor outlet, and let's go take off that elevation and just go back to the cheaper elevation. It's too late, because that has already been submitted for permitting. So picking your structural options at the beginning is imperative, that you pay attention and that you are thoughtful about those decisions, both like, heart and mind, but also pocketbook, to make sure that feels good to you and it feels right to you, and that no matter what you see at the design center, that you're still going to be okay with those choices. And then, the only other thing I can say to you as far as Susie Q, as far as that, is some of those things you can do after you close. If it is just a small, like a door, here's my suggestion is to do a good look, if you get the opportunity to see it at the pre-drywall stage, to take a lot of photos. You can actually get your plans from the county. It is public information, so you can download, and you'll have all the electrical, all of those blueprints and things, so that you can get a contractor out after you close if you want to do that. If it's something small like that, you can always do it after, but in most cases the builder won't do it for you. All right, that was a really long answer as usual. I talk a lot. Okay. Why travel there? Says, thoughts on the Claremont Market wise. So same thing. So actually that's where my clients just contracted. And I will tell you, just as an FYI, in Claremont, still selling, we've still got Olympus coming. There's going to be some breaking of ground and some things happening there that's going to really start to, to kind of tickle that area a little bit and get it kind of super active, and it's already really active. But I will tell you that my client, just as a point of reference, they were building a larger floor plan, so it was definitely one of the larger ones, which, by the way, in Claremont, it's not that easy to find larger. Not that everybody wants a larger one. A lot of people want just a smaller 1-story ranch, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Maybe you want a smaller 2-story. Maybe you want to be 2,700 square feet, 2-story, whatever you want. But I will tell you, they needed a bigger house. And so on the higher end, they will be a little over 7 by the time they're done. By the time they go to the design center, I think they're at like 650 something now. And it will be probably around the 725-ish by the time they've gone to the design center, depending on what they choose. So still selling. And by the way, again, there's an opportunity that they were able to build from dirt. So some of the other builders, you may not have that opportunity. So, that's going to change a little bit too. As far as market wise, I mean, it's still strong. I mean, Claremont is a great spot. Everyone that goes out there really loves the topography and the ability to kind of, have a landscape in front of you sometimes. So I love that area, by the way. It's a very nice area. So I'm fully in support of the Claremont area. Rob Collins, I love all your questions. When they develop a new subdivision, do they test for sinkholes first? So what they do, well, first of all, yes, they're always going to do their due diligence. Whenever you have the land acquisition team or department or company, whoever it is that goes out there, before they even purchase the land, there is a lot of due diligence in play. Again, I'm not there for that part of it, but from what I have learned and from what I understand and what I've had the builders discuss with us, is that before they even do that, they have to do a feasibility study. And yes, they do like soil compaction tests, all sorts of things to kind of confirm that. Now, sinkholes, I mean, can anyone definitively guarantee you'll never have one? I don't think so. But yes, they absolutely are testing for all of that way before they even buy the land. Because the last thing the builder wants to do is buy a piece of property, buy land, and start to develop a community and have a bunch of sinkholes. So yes, they absolutely do their due diligence on that. So Eric Kidwell has asked, is an increase in incentive substitute for a price drop? So that's a good question, Eric. So this really, we talked about this in our Sunday drive, I think. But yeah, so you're not going to notice necessarily, you're not going to see new construction. If you purchased a specific floor plan, you're not going to see that somebody else buying that floor plan 5 months from now is going to be paying less for it. The base price is either going to be the same or it's going to increase. Now, it may not have increased at lightning speed like it's done over the past couple of years, but what the builder is doing is, I just said my client's got a $40,000 incentive. $40,000 incentive. Now, this is funny because I had a client buying in Claremont who sent me a text the other day. And it wasn't funny. It was like kind of funny, but not funny. So he only got a $5,000 closing cost contribution. I believe it was 5. And then, not too long after that, they upped it to an $8,000 closing cost contribution. Now, of course, he said, hey, can I get that $8,000 instead of the 5? Well, again, reality is that you've already contracted at the price that you contracted with the incentive package that you have contracted. So can you go back after the fact and ask for the newest and latest and greatest incentives? No, they're not really going to play that game with you. But that is a huge indicator that those builders are taking an adjustment in the market, but they're taking it from the other perspective. They're not reducing the price of the home. They're not going to do that. They can't really do that. It will have to be absolutely a huge thing for them to ever do something like that. What they can do is not keep increasing it as fast as they do, and they up the incentive. So so it assists essentially with instead of a home being worth $40,000 less, what they're doing is they're giving you $40,000 at the design center or flex cash for you to utilize that toward closing costs or reduce the lot premium or design center credit or something like that. So it's a good way for the builders to to keep the market strong, but to entice those buyers.
I have a question.
Yes, Eric. What is your question, dear?
So what does that mean to someone that's trying to sell a resale competitively? What a great question.
You know what?
Wow.
You should be
Thank
in
you.
real estate, my friend.
Thank you.
He's amazing. Okay, so no, but in all honesty, there's another good question. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, sorry, I keep got a tickle in my throat. Okay, so what does that mean for someone who is selling a home? So this is super important. If you are selling a home, let's say someone is in this area where we have a lot of new construction happening, but we also have a lot of resale happening. I won't say a lot, but we have resale happening too. So if you are trying to sell your home, I have always said to my clients, if you are trying to sell where new construction is competition, then you need to be competitive with them, not comparable. So if you purchased a Belmore floor plan 5 years ago, first of all, congratulations. Okay, I think I locked. Oh, there we go. Congratulations, because that's huge, because your home is worth so much more money now. But you can't necessarily sell yours for what the builder is selling a new one for. You have to be competitive with them, and that goes price-wise specifically, because the other advantage that the builders have is the ability to offer you that incentive. So as the seller, you know what? Yes, you as the seller of your resale home, you can absolutely say, here's our price and we will pay $10,000 towards your closing costs. Or, yes, this is our list price. We will give you $5,000 towards closing costs, and we're going to, give you a Mac Daddy full 1-year home warranty. There's lots of things that you can do as the seller to entice or to incentivize. Yeah. Yes, to get someone to want to move forward on the purchase of your home. But let's think about this realistically, okay? Like, in all honesty, let's talk reality. My clients that are building that home, they get to build the one that they want, their dream home. They get to pick everything that they want, and it's going to be $725-ish, $750, somewhere around there, okay? And they're getting $40,000 incentive. So now it's back down to that 710 mark, 700 mark, maybe less, but probably not, probably around 7. Someone resale a home maybe 4 years old, still beautiful. If they buy theirs at 700 or 725, they're not going to get the closing cost incentive, and the home is older, and it's going to be out of the builder's warranty. So there's far more things that are enticing to utilize the new construction opportunity, if it exists, than to go with resale. So that doesn't mean that if you're in resale that you have to then slash the price of your home. It does mean, however, that you need to have a true, thoughtful, honest, and transparent conversation with your realtor about, do we need to do a price drop? You know what? Yes, we priced it very well, but the market is changing. We're not getting any foot traffic. Maybe it's time to talk strategy. Maybe there's something we have to add to it. Because again, we have to be competitive with what the builders are doing, because they have the power and the ability to do that little old me and you don't. So you have to, but there are ways you can still be competitive with them. You just have to, have that good, honest conversation. And then you also have to determine whether or not you really are, is this a situation where you want to move or you have to move? And if you want to move, are you still in a position where you have enough equity in your home that if it's going to cost you a little bit more to sell it, that you're still comfortable and okay with that? So anyway, so there's lots of things to talk about. RG, what do I think about a CDD? So that's a good question. So a lot of people, a CDD, so that is going to be paid in your taxes. So a lot of times when you have a CDD and an HOA fee, the HOA fee is what you pay out monthly. That's what you're going to see that you write the check for monthly or quarterly or semi-annually, however your HOA determines it. But the CDD is actually paid in your taxes. So you don't see it, but you see it, if that makes sense. So it depends on the area. Those CDDs, they're very prevalent out like more in the rural areas. There's a lot of communities out in Claremont or in Mineola, Oakland, Groveland, that have them. as we kind of head out there. They have the CDDs. A lot of them, oh my gosh, a lot of them in Kissimmee, Davenport area. A lot of those communities have CDDs too. Here's my opinion. If it does not bust your budget, it's fine. It's just it's the way that community was structured in the beginning. It was the bond that the builder took out in the beginning. And it's not isolated to one community. There's a lot of communities that have them. So the reality is just know what it is that you're getting into. How does that affect your monthly budget? And even though you don't see it or strike that check for it every single month, you are still paying it. So, how does that work with you financially? And if it doesn't bust the budget, then it should be fine. 2 more camper vanners. Are builders offering larger plots as incentives? We noticed that plot sizes shrank when supply slowed. That's a good thought process, but no. Not that I'm aware of. So most every new construction community are going to plat their community out in those little parcels that are dependent on the series home, whether it is a bungalow rear entry garage where it might be 40 feet wide, or whether it's a 50-foot wide home site for a typical like two car garage front load. Or maybe it's 60, which is now a little bit more, that's kind of generous. And then anything beyond 60 is, in our terms, is a larger home site. But it's already been platted out that way. So they're not going to adjust the lot sizes based on the market necessarily. There are still some larger home sites out there. There's a couple of builders that have some really nice, like 85-foot wide home sites. So there are some opportunities out there, but in most cases, you're still going to have your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s kind of on average. By the way, all 120 deep. I say all, but most likely it's 120 deep. That's kind of the way they parcel them out. Unless, again, you back up to conservation or water or something where your home site might be a little bit different because it backs up more to Mother Nature and they couldn't just stamp out rectangles throughout the community. That's a good question though. That would be nice. Hey, I have a 100-foot wide by 300-foot deep home site. Yeah, you must have purchased in 2022. That would be nice, but no, I don't think that's happening. Okay, take another question and then I have to go on to something else. Okay. Oh gosh, there's so many good questions. Okay. All right. So, that was Allie's, but I didn't mean to post that one. Hold on. Jacqueline, there we are. What are your thoughts on the builders offering to buy your home with OfferPad or Knox so you can buy a new construction home from them? You know what? I'm going to be honest. I think that is horrible. I don't like it. I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to have you remove the contingency so that they have a more confident, buyer. Because let's face it, like, who are you if you, and by the way, these people exist and there's nothing wrong that they exist. It's like, congratulations. But most regular average people have to sell their existing home and get the money from the sale of that home in order to close on the new home that they're purchasing, whether they're buying in Florida or Mississippi, it doesn't matter. So what the builders are doing is they want to remove that contingency. They don't want you backing out of that contract at the last minute. So let's talk about that in relation to this. And then I promise I'm talking too much, right? Eric's like, yes, you're talking too much. This is a fantastic question though. So if you, and I have this every time I talk to my clients when we have our phone calls, are you contingent? If you don't know if you're contingent, you need to find out from the lender, because there are some people who financially, and what that means, if you don't understand what I'm saying, is if you are contingent, that means you need the money from the sale of your existing home. If you are not contingent, that means that ultimately the lender deems that your financial situation is such that you have enough income or just a financial status that you could essentially carry 2 mortgages, the home that you're currently living in and the new one that you're getting ready to purchase. Now, for most people, they don't plan on having 2 homes, right? They plan on having 1 home. But what that does, and that's exactly my clients who just contracted yesterday. They're not contingent to sell their existing home, which is fantastic for them because now they get to sell the home that they're in whenever they want to. they're still going to sell it. They still need the money from the sale of their existing home, but they don't have to have it. But they don't really plan on keeping that home. They may keep it as an investment property and rent it out, but most likely they're just going to sell it and be done with it. They're growing their family, so they're going to keep those funds more, protected in that aspect for them. But that means that they can stay in their existing home until such time as they decide, okay, you know what, our new home is almost complete, so we're going to go ahead and put that on the market and go that route. So, but what the builders are doing is when they do all of these, iBuyers, they're trying to remove that contingency to better them, but it's not to your advantage. Because if you've ever truly worked with any of these, and I know some people are like, oh, we had a great experience, but have you talked to a realtor about what they can do for you I've shown and I've had people buy these offer pad homes or some of these other ones, and it is not a pleasant experience, and that's not a bust on them. I think what they're doing, they're offering something, and there are some people that are in a situation, and I usually say it's a desperate situation.
But 10% less than you'd get for it with a realtor on average.
You already said.
No,
so about 10% less than what you would get with a realtor on average if you had a realtor sell it. The only difference is that OfferPad or some of those other ones are buying it from you, and then they're just guaranteeing you that sale, even though you took a huge hit financially on what you could have netted from it. But the builder doesn't often give you the opportunity to explore both. For instance, it used to be pre-pandemic, if a builder allowed you to do a home to sell contingency, they would give you 60 days. They would give you 60 days to get your home on the market and to get it under contract. And if it got under contract within those 60 days, well, now you are a home to close contingency. And the builder we could usually, tell them, can we extend this? They're under contract now, and now we have a closing date on such and such. Can we extend it another 3 weeks so that they can close on it? And usually the builder is accommodating, used to be accommodating. But that was a long time ago. And by the way, the only reason they gave you that little that 60 days timeline, that 2-month period, was because your home is in permitting. So they're not building anything. They haven't broken ground on your home yet. The only money they're out is what they have submitted for the permits. Now it's different, because as soon as you submit, or as soon as you write your contract for a to be built, they're not only paying for permits, but they're ordering those windows. They're ordering some of these materials to help navigate and to reduce that time delay later. So the builders are a little bit more inclined to get you non-contingent from the get-go. And by the way, some of these houses are taking a year to build. So they want you to get rid of your existing home and go live somewhere else for a year. And we talked about rental prices, right? So it's a very frustrating thing. So I'm a little passionate about it. So I actually am not a big fan of that. I think that they should go back to giving you a 60-day time period to see if you can, work with a realtor to get it under contract. And again, the markets are different, so 2 months might not be enough, or, as months ago, it would have only taken a day. But I think that they should help you do what's in your best financial interest and not theirs. Candidly, that's my opinion on that. Okay, and then one other quick question that I saw. Okay, so Ben, this is a fantastic question. If you are one of the first homes being built in new construction, would the amenities like the pool, the exercise room, also be open for the first wave of homeowners to enjoy? Haha. So it is my understanding that the amenities and the green spaces are supposed to be built first. Is that what I'm seeing? No. So there are some communities where the amenities are under construction, but let's use Story Grove as an example. Story Grove, it took years for people who were in the community, who lived in the community, closed in the community with none of the main amenities center. They may have still had the parks or the trails or green space, but they didn't have the pool and all the other stuff that they wanted. But it is my understanding, from what I was taught, it is supposed to be that the amenities are built first, so that yes, those first homeowners that come in have access to that. You're paying HOA fees. Your HOA fees are not reduced because the amenities are not built yet. I've never had a client buy a new construction home with no amenities and say, well, until the amenities are built, your HOA fee is only this. I have not seen that. So it should be Ben. Is it always? No. How they get away with it? Candidly, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but it should be for sure. All right. So let me go on to another thing because and that way I can take a sip of my coffee, honestly. And then, but let's go to what I'm watching. Not that you care, but Eric does. So we added this little segment. Okay, so last week, so I am so late to this party, by the way. I watch kind of some of everything, which is surprising because it used to be literally Hallmark Channel and rom-coms. I only wanted things that were light and happy. And then one day I stumbled across like investigators, I don't know, like a police, like action type thing, but it was set in like Ireland. And so I watched it for the ambiance. Like I watched it for the settings and the scenes and just the beautiful visual that it gave. Well, then, you know how Netflix does, right? You watch one thing and then it kind of recommends something else. So then all of a sudden I started getting into these like mysteries, and then I started getting into these more action films. Well, I never would have ever thought I would have watched The Walking Dead. Not my cup of tea. However, my other daughter's back at school now, so she's gone, but my other daughter is here because remember, they're living with us until their new home is complete. And they had all watched it, and they're like, I don't know, Mom, maybe, you know, and this is how they got me, okay? I had a day, which is very rare, where I didn't have a lot going on. I didn't have any clients I had to meet. It was just kind of a day where I was like, wow, like this is easy. Like this is what it's like to have a day where you can do something. Again, back to school, so it was slow. Anyway, so she said, well, Mom, look, here's the thing. The first season is only 6 episodes. So why don't you just try to watch the first 6 episodes and then you can make a call on it, because I guess there's like, 10 seasons or something? I don't know. And I actually am the person who, I like to get fully committed. I always say I'm that long-term person, right? So I like anything that has multiple seasons so that I can really get invested in it and just kind of have it become a part of my life. I said, okay, I'll try it. So I watched the first episode. It was a little weird for me to adapt to it, but I have to tell you, I'm kind of hooked on it now. And it's not so much about the zombies in that part, because I honestly, this is what I do when that part happens. I just close my eyes, but I love the characters, and I think ultimately it's kind of cool. I mean, it's a little scary, but anyway, so that's what I'm watching. I'm currently watching The Walking Dead, and because there's so many seasons, but wait, there is one other thing you didn't put it on here.
What?
Indian matchmatching. I just finished season 2 of that. I think that is fascinating. Beautiful and fascinating. So that I watched season 1 whenever it came out, and then I just love different cultures, and I think that is absolutely amazing. We've got some friends who had arranged marriages and things like that, so I love different people and different cultures, and that was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I actually finished it last night, and it was one of those things where I didn't know it was the last episode, so I was a little like sad when it was like over, and then like when Netflix is like going to the next one, it gave me a different show. I was like, no, it's over. Anyway, but now I'm on to Walking Dead, so I will let you know whenever I'm able to finish all of those seasons. That will probably take a while. Okay, couple more questions, and then I have to go because I have to go do the showings. All right, let me see. Yeah, so Rob, in Virginia now, with a new division and when a new subdivision is being built, certain amount of that land must be used for public use areas. Yeah, that's the same thing here. And it's always kind of been that way. Like every community has to have a specific percentage allocated as green space or communal space. So yeah, so you may have just a big park, you may just have a playground. You know, the neighborhood that we first lived in, did not have amenities at all. It didn't have an amenity center. There was no pool, no fitness center, no clubhouse. It was a playground, and then some green space behind the playground where the kids could, some of the kids would play soccer out there, or they'd hit the baseball or whatever, or throw the football. So some green space, and then there was a pond that had a fountain, and the fountain needed to be maintained, and the pond would have to be maintained to some extent. But that was obviously already in place because that's really easy to build. It's those amenity centers that take a little bit more time. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Depending on the size of the community, they have to allocate a specific percentage of that land as communal community space. And by the way, that is maintained in your HOA fees. So any of that common area, they call it common area maintenance. They call them your CAM fees. Common area maintenance, that is for mowing that grass or remulching that playground or resurfacing the pool or something like that. Okay, is there anything else? Eric, did I miss anything?
Pi Day.
Pi Day. It's Pi Day. Not March 14th, not the 3.14 pi. But today is, where is it? Lemon Meringue Day. Happy National Lemon Meringue Pie Day to all who celebrate it.
Producer.
Apparently, the producer, Mr. Eric, has given me a piece of lemon meringue.
If you won't eat.
Actually, you know what? It looks very similar to the one that's in front of it, as it should. You know what?
Very well.
The meringue is kind of oozing out. Kind of looks a little bit like The Walking Dead, but just kidding. Actually, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have some. It's good. It's a little sweet. Publix. Very good. So, speaking of pie, what's your favorite pie? Okay. All right. So, I am going to get out of here because I have got some... Yes, we'll do that. Thank you, dear. I have got a couple showings that I need to go do today for some clients who are still in town. Thank you. And if I did not get to your question this time, I am so sorry. There's actually a lot of questions in here, so I didn't get to all of them. I will try to go back. But as always, thank you guys for joining. I love it that you guys join me. It makes my week start out on such a good note. So big hugs to all of you, whether I know you in person or if I only know you through this crazy internet type thing. I appreciate you so much. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we truly love you. Please stay safe, stay well. And remember, happy house hunting.